This was the single most toxic television show ever produced. Straight up, we've had some bad ones over the years, particularly within science fiction and fantasy fandoms. We've gotten rather used to getting bent over a barrel and abused by mega corporations, having our hopes built up only to be dashed in front of us yet again. But there was something special about the Wheel of Time, a level of hostility, of acidic malice that has not been matched in virtually any other piece of entertainment. Even the Rings of Power pale in comparison to the Wheel of Time. The only other example that I know of that I would ever put on the same level is probably what Harley Quinn did to Nora Freeze. That's a heart of ice to a tramp stamp. That is the only one that even gets close to this thing. And it was, oh my god, I don't even know where to begin. As it was on every level. And it was malicious, intentional. There were articles from back when they were first shooting it, before the release of the first season, where the female cast were like, oh yes, we're having fancy dinners whilst the boys are getting ready for their topless shots, ha 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 ha. Because it's fine when it happens to the men. We've got quotes from the creators basically going like, no, this is a very timely series. We're going to make a story about women dominating men. They were blatant about it, and that is exactly what they created. And I bring this up every time we talk about it, but this is the title screen of the Wheel of Times, where you have the main character, the single most powerful entity in this universe, the Dragon Reborn, as some neutral dude in the background. He is literally the furthest to the back of all of the characters, and a largely irrelevant and temporary mentor is front and center. Even his great moment where he demonstrates his powers for the first time, wiping out an army, is handed over to 3 random women. I cannot overstate how actively malicious, how toxic, how shit this one was. And now it's over. Which leads us to a more interesting, broader question. See, a little while ago, last week, Bob Iger decided to go visit Donald Trump. Oh, really now? So this could be seen as simply going to kiss the ring, right? We saw this with his first presidency as well, and one of Trump's greatest mistakes was believing all of the ass-kissery that was thrown his way. But this feels somewhat different. Disney has cancelled a fair few things of their own now. They seem to be actively pulling back on wokeism. They've deleted woke scenes in the latest Lilo and Stitch, for example, seemingly trying almost too hard to depoliticize it. They removed LGBTQ scenes in that baseball thing they did a while ago, whose name I can't remember. And now he's visiting the devil himself and urging the hosts of The View, a bunch of feral, screeching, feminist... I shouldn't probably use that word on YouTube. To stop with the politics. Now, of course, Amazon is a little bit different again, but there appears to be a genuine waning of wokeism, as I firmly believe that we are no longer in a period where we are seeing the top of the hill. We are heading down the other end. We are no longer approaching the end of wokeism. We are there. We are right now in wokeism's active decline, where the countless megacorporations that have been literally, the only force they've had is the corporations. They've never had the numbers to move the needle on anything significant. They've never been able to build up video games, to build up entertainment or movies, or to make anything a success. They only ever managed to do anything because they could go to the corporations and, listen here, you don't want to be called a racist, do you? And I worked out wonderfully for about 10 years, because being called racist was pretty much the worst conceivable excuse you could levy against anyone in the world of 10, 12 years ago, which goes some distance to show how non-racist we were. Emphasis on were, considering recent Yee songs, etc. But Amazon is beginning to move away from it. Disney is moving away from it. If anything, HBO is now the sole holdout, and it too has been kind of incompetently dabbling with wokeism for years. There's DC, of course, which is probably going to double down on wokeism now, as everybody else is doing the opposite. DC, as ever, will be 5 years late to the bandwagon, but in general, this is a clear sign that entertainment is beginning to fix itself. Now, whether or not that is going to happen in time, or whether or not this purge will even be successful, though, that is a big question, because for all of Bob Iger's rhetoric at the moment, he's not the first person to have tried to fix this out of Disney. His predecessor attempted the same thing, and he was replaced for it. The hosts of The View basically told him that this is stupid, shut up, boss, go away. which is really goddamn amazing to me. Like, listen, I know you owned the network and everything, but go away. We'll do anything we want. If nothing else, is certainly a stridently wokist ideology, isn't it? To simply go, no, we don't care about reality. We don't care about you can fire us or anything. We're just gonna keep going and F you. If I was Bob, I'd take that as a challenge, but hey. As it's not so easy as to simply stop making woke entertainment. If that was the case, we'd probably already be seeing it right now, but we've had 10 to 20 years now of actively purging anyone who's actually good at their jobs out of the industry, kicking them out, calling them racist, or otherwise reprogramming them to fit into a more inclusive Hollywood sphere. We've seen this with the recent Batman show, Caped Crusader, for example, where you've got one of the people who literally invented Harley Quinn deciding to ruin her completely. She's not a psychiatrist, she's not connected to the Joker, she's not crazy, She doesn't even wear the clown suit anymore. She picks up some random jester costume in grey and piss yellow for reasons unbeknownst to literally anyone. And this was the guy who originally made her to begin with. 10 plus years of active brain rot will ruin even the most fervent creative mind. And, well, the big companies are now going to have to first fight a civil war within their own ranks. They're going to need to purge people like the hosts of The View, which is going to come with its own complications. It's going to come with expensive settlement packages, Amazon in particular. So Amazon has companies all over the world, of course, and in many of these countries, firing people is really goddamn difficult, to the point of being virtually impossible unless you can prove that your company is in active financial straits. Countries like Germany, for example, once people there have a contract with Amazon, they're there for practically forever, or at the very least for a decade or two. And this goes to show again with Amazon's habit of signing really long contracts with things like Rings of Power, which they can't even cancel, because if they do, well, the people have already gotten paid. They've already signed up to the 5 seasons. They're already boned. And, well, this can actually kill companies. Amazon, probably not. They're too large. They have way too many other revenue streams. But Disney? I don't know. Disney might actually be the closest one to a potential collapse. And even let's assume, right? Let's assume the company survive. Let us assume they actually manage to purge out all of the wokeists. All right. What now? Well, we gotta start creating good entertainment again. With whom? You haven't actually been hiring that talent. You've been kicking them out of the industry. And most of them now are creating their own stuff in an era where generative AI is emerging, and people can create movies in the course of days by just typing prompts onto a computer. If there are actually genuinely talented individuals out there still, why would they go work for Amazon or DC or Marvel? Well, the only real reason if they had a particular passion for the entity, for the setting, for Batman or Iron Man or whatever, but after years of actively tearing down these characters, why? Why would you get somebody, mega corporation, to make Wheel of Time if some dude can make it instead, and in all due likelihood significantly more faithfully so, with his PC and a keyboard? Now, paychecks, of course, are also an alternative. Perhaps the megacorporations will simply offer them so much money that they can't refuse. But yet again then, you run into the problem with having a handful of overpaid individuals that might only actually be good at one thing. Amazon hires a guy, say for example, and he somehow turns Rings of Power around. Which, like, imagine episode 5 is amazing, and you sit there just like, what the fuck did I see? And so Amazon gives him a contract for like a decade or so, and then they put him to make some other, big entity or some other spin-off of Lord of the Rings. And turns out he's actually shit. He did all of that by sheer fluke. Now what? Not to mention the competition within the industry to actually get a hold of the talented individuals like we've seen with certain entities within the comic book and superhero movies sphere. So yeah, I genuinely do believe that things like this are a sign that wokeism is on the out. We have won this part of the war. Now we merely need to see the campaign to its conclusion. And whether or not any of the companies survive, I don't know if I care anymore, frankly. Indeed, if we could shift as much of this as possible out into the common market, it would be the best for all of us. But cold hard reality is that it isn't going to be less entertainment going to these mega corporations, it's probably going to be more, as they've also now started picking up original series, like stuff you see on YouTube, for example, like The Has Been Hotel, now Hell of a Bus as well. Murderbot was apparently another one. I hate to tell you, but Amazon isn't going anywhere. Disney is probably not going to go anywhere, and the best we can hope for is a period of slightly more faithful adaptations, which hopefully will become successful enough to see us into a second golden age, where we will ruin it for ourselves like we did the first one, by looking at genuinely excellent stuff and going, well, that's just normal today. The wheels on the bus go round, round and round. But hey, let's enjoy it whilst it lasts, huh? Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.